Thank you for joining me. I am Precious Mzea Sakaleji. Welcome to Camnet TV Main News. The headlines. More stakeholders condemn government over Dr. SAMPA'S firing. Court directs ECZ to level the political playing field, especially media coverage. Chapter 1 Foundation petitions President Edgar Lungu over the prison vote. And in international news, Zimbabwe upbeat about economic rebound forecast of 7.8% growth. And in sports, debutants Zambia drawn against Algeria in AFCON mini football. Join me with the main news in detail after this commercial.
2021 has been described as a highly politically charged year. This is because every 5 years the country goes to the polls, and that 5 years elapses with only a few months remaining down to the ballot. The battlefield to appear on the ballot is becoming fertile. A lot of people are expressing interest of appearing on the ballot.
In all this, our interest is to put the duty bearers, the leaders, and those aspiring to task by asking the relevant questions.
If you're an aspiring candidate, be it councillor, mayor or member of parliament, get in touch with us to get yourself on the verdict.
We go beyond speculation in dealing with policy and governance issues. The right questions are asked to help you make a verdict.
For more details, you can call us on 0962 965883, 0979 753010, or email us info@camnettvafrica.com. Terms and conditions apply.
Join us on Camnet TV
every Monday, Tuesday, Thursday and Friday at 17:45 hours
on a new program dubbed The Verdict.
Remember that Camnet TV is not just another channel. And now the news in detail. A 65-year-old woman of Lusaka West says she has continued to suffer brutality at the hands of suspected Patriotic Front cadres who have encroached on her farmland and dividing it amongst themselves. Romance Banda has told Camnet News that the farmland she has been occupying since 2015, of which she holds land titles, has been overtaken by a female PF cadre alongside with others. Mrs. Banda has lamented that one of her houses was demolished by the named cadre, who claims to also have titles to the said land despite the matter being before the courts of law. The old woman is now calling on Zambia's Republican President Edgar Lungu to come to her aid before she completely loses the only land she has to survive on.
She has occupied this farmland in Lusaka West for a long time, but now risks losing it as a non-patriotic Front card also claims to be the rightful owner of the land and has already started selling plots on the said farmland. According to Romance Banda, she has occupied this farmland in a long time and got the titles to the farmland in 2015 from the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources after surveyors came to demarcate the said land. However, the Patriotic Front cadre connived with other cadres and demolished a house at her farm, claiming the farmland does not belong to Mrs. Banda.
So waleta wakapokola 2015 anabwera kupwanya manyumba pano yali 4, anipwanyira manyumba yali 4. So apwanya manyumba yali 4, nabwera naenda ku court, nkani na Adijani every day na Adijani. So palasti anaboka mbati mwe mami nkani yani likukawe. So nabwera naenda kukawe kwenda uja kukawe ati hai alejina wawina land. Awina bwanje land fuka yakuti eve ndi amena anaononga katundu mfamu mwanga. Ngepa mena bwana chitapiwa.
Mrs. Banda has also lamented that she and her children have been brutally manhandled by Mr. Tambili and her cadres, despite the matter being before the courts of law.
Kuyuma mtima munga farao. Na mafarao nao waliko. Pano paziko la pansi kunisausa ati sitaito hii ati sitaito aetika ati sitaito arejina bachareti
She now wants Zambia's Republican President Dr. EDGAR LUNGU to intervene in the matter, saying her life is being threatened every day for simply fighting for land that belongs to her.
Futi rechina kuenda washauti mfuti nikutoro nikamba kutoro ni wa president awakwira na mfuta awasonta mpaka wamangiwa rechina anatenga mtengo wanje osamangiwa.
And her neighbor has confirmed the brutality and has also called on the authorities to come to her intervention.
Masauve anabwera kuti iyai fesi tuchoke ku Ministry of Land mapeleke paper kuja. Judgment inepa meneza choka. Yachoka judgment atiyo ni patu June futi yachitika vijani. Nanga muri kuti mwe bantu government ni vijani vamene vichitika. Tapapa atabatandizeni koni na weveni bantu bamuziko bamuzambia mu.
Her lawyer representing her in this matter, Martha Mushipe, says the land surveyor is preparing documents to be presented before the courts of law to understand why the land in question has 2 claimants. But the Ministry of Land Surveyor, Paul Peary, could not comment on the matter as his phone was switched off by broadcast time. Meanwhile, Patriotic Front card could not also be reached for a comment. For now, this poor woman of Lusaka West lives in her own country with fear, not knowing what tomorrow may look like. Prudence Chota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
Young people at St. Margaret's School in Chipangali district of Eastern Province have testified that the concept of production units in schools is helping them appreciate the importance of agriculture in uplifting their livelihoods.
Agriculture and agribusiness play an important role in the Zambian economy, contributing around 20% of gross domestic product (GDP) in recent years and about 12% of the national export earnings. And the concept of production units is certainly helping young people appreciate the value of agriculture in safeguarding their lives. The Ministry of General Education has been championing this agenda, and schools are now appreciating its value. In my recent visit to Eastern Province in Chipangari district at St. Margaret's Secondary School, I caught up with young people who shared their experiences.
By providing vegetables for everyone in school, and that's why we gain our nutrients from. We gain nutrients from vegetables. And as me, as an individual, when I complete school, as I'll be waiting for my results, I can start up a small garden and sell some vegetables to gain some income. And I also see it healthy that we get vegetables from our own garden, because we know, we can see how they clean the vegetables, knowing that we eat healthy meals here. And it's also a source of income for the school and also for us as we learn, like here as we're working. We know how to make our own gardens, and not only as we'll be waiting for results, we can make gardens, but also it can also be a career and a source of income like capital. When you go into society, we might start a garden for us to earn a living or some source of money for us to go to the universities when we finish school.
Others say production units are important because they can help them earn a living.
As a school, the production unit has helped us in such a way whereby it provides supplies for the kitchen. In some cases, maybe we have shortages of vegetables. Then we just get our vegetables from the garden. Then as for me as an individual, when I go into society, it's going to help me because before I'll be waiting for me to be accepted in the university, I can help myself by setting up a small garden. Then I'll be supplying people with maybe vegetables, tomato,
with a lot of things. Like as they said, when we complete school, as well as we'll be waiting for our results, they can help us to start like farming, open a garden and start selling some other things. Yes, and as a school, it has helped us with a lot of things, like providing vegetables for us for our meals. Yes, that's how it has helped us in the school.
When they come, you find that a people doesn't even know how to handle a hoe. And me, I said, my friend, whether you know, you don't know, can you make a bed here? And by the time they leave, they really appreciate. Sister, I didn't know.
This is how we are supposed to, should be helping your parents at home. So
it must be noted that agriculture has been perceived as the sector for old people, but now this narrative is fading as more young people are getting involved. Patrick Soko, Camnet News.
National Union of Public and Private Educators of Zambia, UPBEAT, has bemoaned the laxity of schools in the implementation of COVID-19 preventive guidelines. UPBEAT's National Secretary General Nelson Mwale says the rise in the number of COVID-19 cases in the country calls for intensified adherence levels in all schools. And a check by Camnet News at some schools in Lusaka found pupils not masking up while others were passing hand-washing basins when entering school premises. And Ministry of Health Permanent Secretary for Technical Services Kennedy Malama says the country has in the last 24 hours recorded 2,146 new COVID-19 cases with 8 deaths.
The third wave of COVID-19 seems to be terrorizing the country, and the need to adhere to the preventive guidelines remains the key at stopping the further spread of the pandemic. While it is difficult to ask pupils to distance from one another, schools have been seen to be among many sectors that have relaxed the COVID-19 preventive measures. A check by Camnet News at a school in Lusaka found most pupils not masking up when entering and leaving the school premises, while others were seen bypassing hand-washing basins, acting as though they do not exist. And the National Union for Public and Private Educators of Zambia, UPBEAT, has called on the education sector to intensify COVID-19 preventive guidelines in schools, as ignoring this may have a negative impact on the education sector.
Also, to appeal to our school administrators that there's been too much complacency in their adherence to the provisions of SI 21 and 22, to an extent where now we see a number of learners going to school without masks. We see a number of schools that do not even have, those COVID protective kits. And so we are saying a lot must be done. If we are not doing much, if the Minister of General Education remains complacent, we will see these schools as breeding zones of COVID-19. We are seeing a lot of cases of COVID-19, and so we will not allow that. And so,
meanwhile, Ministry of Health Permanent Secretary for Technical Services Kennedy Malama says it is saddening to note that some people have continued to doubt the existence of COVID-19, saying it is a hoax.
Sadly, we still have those among us who still believe that COVID-19 is a hoax, and that this is a disease of those who are well-to-do, the middle class and the upper class of our society. Today we still hear people saying COVID-19 is for those who stay in Mayadis, Kumayadi. Others are saying the figures we continue updating the country on a daily basis may not be the correct picture, and the figures may be inflated. We appeal to all well-meaning Zambians not to be misguided by those who are peddling falsehoods, as the situation on the ground is as we are updating you on a daily basis.
But in the last 24 hours, the country recorded 2,146 new COVID-19 cases with 8 deaths.
In the last 24 hours, as a country, we recorded 2,146 new confirmed cases of COVID-19. This is from the 14,033 tests we conducted. This gives a positivity rate of 15%, bringing our cumulative total of confirmed COVID-19 cases in our country to 105,909. On a side note, as a country, we recorded 8 deaths in the last 24 hours.
2,146 new cases reported in a day is a clear call for every Zambian to take the COVID-19 pandemic seriously, including all politicians. If left unattended to, COVID-19 will cripple the Zambian economy and there will be no Zambia to boast about. Prudence Chota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
Movement for Democratic Change President Felix Mutati says securing the International Fund Fitness Certificate is a matter of priority for Zambia post the August 12th general election. Speaking to Camnet News, Mr. Mutati says the UPND Alliance will present a credible proposal to secure an IMF bailout package. He says the package will help Zambia in reviving the economy.
So dealing with debt becomes an urgent matter that must be attended to post-elections. And in dealing with the issue of debt, there are a number of things that must be done by way as an urgent matter. One is that whatever we do, we need to secure an engagement with the IMF, which will result in us securing a fitness certificate, meaning that they'll say Zambia is fit. Because that is important as a foundation for any restructuring programs that you can never have. It's important for creating confidence for those that have lent money to Zambia. It is important that it creates a roadmap on how the debt is not only going to be restructured, but how the economy is going to be shaped, that it protects the vulnerable people, that it leaves money in the economy to be able to ensure that the wheels of the economy begin to turn.
In other news, the Center for Trade Policy and Development CTPD has commended government for developing a national strategy on the elimination of non-tariff barriers impacting Zambia's trade with the rest of the trading partners. Non-tariff barriers (NTBs), which include export and import control and additional licensing requirements, are the actual obstacles to cross-border commerce in today's world. CTPD researcher for trade and development Emmanuel Muma explains that Zambia's NTB elimination strategy is planned to increase the country's reporting mechanism, improve border efficiency, and eliminate current NTBs while restricting the entry of new ones, particularly at critical border crossings such as Kasumbalesa. Mr. Muma says developing a strategy is a step in the right direction towards obtaining the desired outcome, warning that without appropriate implementation, the country will never get to where it wants to be. Now more than ever, it is critical for the country to move forward and effectively implement the strategy's implementation plan, as well as to consistently monitor progress and performance of the strategy. He has advised that this should be done in consultation with all stakeholders, including the private sector, non-governmental organizations, small-scale traders, youths, women, trade unions, and trading partners in the region.
As CTPD, we welcome government's move towards the development and launch of the national strategy on the elimination of non-tariff barriers impacting Zambia's trade with the rest of the world. And nowadays, non-tariff barriers are the actual obstacles facing cross-border traders. For example, Zambia's export of agriculture commodities such as maize meal, and wheat is often reported and restricted by quotas and export bans, despite having the capacity to supply in large volumes. We are hopeful that the recently launched NTB elimination strategy will help eliminate current NTBs while restricting the entry of new ones, particularly at critical border crossings such as Kasumbalesa.
The Economic Freedom Fighters EFF party has written to Secretary to the Cabinet demanding that his office reinstate with immediate effect fired Resident Doctors Association of Zambia President Dr. Brian Sampa. Party President Kasonde Mwenda has also advised government to reinstate Dr. Sampa's medical practicing license. Mr. Kasonde says failure by government to fail to comply with these demands within 48 hours will result in his party to commence judicial review in the High Courts of Zambia. Mr. Mwenda adds that the action of the Permanent Secretary in the aforementioned letter are not just an affront against the rights and privileges of civil servants contained in the country's supreme law, which is the Constitution.
As economic freedom fighters, we regret the unlawful dismissal of Dr. Brian Sampa, and as a result, we have written to the Secretary of Cabinet informing him of our intentions to commence legal proceedings. We feel protocol was not followed, procedure was broken, and as such, that dismissal is just tantamount to intimidation. The doctor, as well as other civil servants, have got the rights as are enshrined in the Constitution, Article 42. What we see is a breach of the Constitution, and as such, we will take legal action if that decision is not reversed with immediate effect.
And United Party for National Development UPND Chairperson for Labour and Social Services Godfrey Bene says it is erroneous for government to fire Dr. Sampa for simply being the mouthpiece of other doctors. Mr. Bene says what doctors were demanding are labour issues that needed to be sorted amicably between the two parties. He says firing Dr. Sampa has not resolved the problems that doctors are facing, but that it has added to the already existing challenges being faced in the health sector. He has since demanded for the reinstating of Dr. Sampa, saying his party subscribes to better the conditions of all civil servants who have issues.
To say that those doctors have been having those problems for many years. You see, they've got family to look. Right up now, this country has collapsed. The economy has collapsed. They've got families. They have funerals. They have to attend to other social issues. So, they've been engaging government, but government has misleading them. What did you do? And if you remember, even when they were protesting, they were still at their working places. Others were attending to patients. And they are the same government is the one which is talking about the COVID escalating. So, they are just human beings. They've got a right to protest, but I can assure you that not all the doctors left that place. It's the government which has been a problem. So, they are professionals, yes, they need to respect the lives of people, but at the end of the day, they need to earn a living. It's simple as all that. It's simple as all that. So, we need to be very sensitive to these issues. But the PF government is saying that they've developed this country by those kind of policies. No. Let's not just talk about infrastructure. How about the human component? It's very important.
The Ministry of Information has observed with concern that some people still perceive COVID-19 as a hoax. Ministry of Information and Broadcasting Service Director for Press and Media Development Morden Mayembe is disappointed over what he terms as poor attitude towards the COVID-19 pandemic, which he said requires the full participation of the media to resolve. Speaking during Science Media engagement in Lusaka Tuesday, Mr. Mayembe notes the need for the media to play an active role in highlighting the negative impact of the COVID-19 pandemic. He has therefore underscored the need to ensure that journalists are well informed on the COVID-19 in order to effectively inform the public.
What is of serious concern is that some sections of society continue to portray COVID as a hoax, thereby misleading many into believing that the disease does not exist, therefore it should be business as usual. I'm sure where we are coming from, we are hearing the statements. I think it's because of the period we are in, which is the 90-day campaign period. So because of that, some sections of society feel that the COVID, the third wave being talked about, is not real. It's just a hoax that the government wants to use to curtail campaigns for elections.
This is just to remind each one of us the strategy that we are using to respond to the COVID-19. Okay, so we have what we call an incident management system that helps us to coordinate the response in an effective manner. So we have what we call the disease surveillance and case investigation and contact tracing. This is where our response teams are looking for the disease everywhere in the health facilities.
For distance, keep the environment clean, stay home. At least we are going to minimize the transmission of COVID-19 because this is moved by humans.
You're watching Camnet TV Main News. We take our first set of commercials. We'll be back with more news after this.
To some, he is a symbol of hope, while to others, a chance for a better life, progress, growth and development. Everywhere he goes, the Zambian people have enthusiastically received him with love and passion. They have proudly welcomed him all across different provinces, districts, and communities. They are ready for change, a brand new chapter that will give Zambians a chance to save their home, our beloved country, the future of our children. We have a chance to elevate and take Zambia forward. There is no time to look behind. The time for change is now. So take action and vote Hakainde Hichilema.
President Dr. Edgar Lungu and the PF have facilitated increased electricity generation to 3,000 megawatts from 1,767 megawatts in 2011. Vote for President Edgar Lungu and the PF that have brought you change.
From time immemorial, we have had different types of lighting options, from those that can burn down our investments in minutes to those that dig holes in our pockets due to constant replacement and huge consumption of our ZESCO units. Savenda Electric introduces the new and advanced electric bulb with cutting-edge technology of LED that has low power consumption, gives out bright white light, and lasts up to 25,000 hours. Savenda Electric manufactures all types of LED light, like plastic LED fluorescent tubes, down lights, ceiling lights, outdoor fittings, and solar street lights made to customer specifications. Let's live on the bright side of life by choosing the wide range of Savenda electric lighting solutions that are available in all leading stores and supermarkets countrywide. For orders, call 0962-642-490 or email jnbunda@savenda.com or pchabula@savenda.com.
Get into the best mood this June. Be ready to enjoy your downtime with sensational shows, keeping you fully entertained this month on GoTV. Great. You don't have to be perfect to be a good person. And boss ladies making big moves. This one is for all the superwomen. They're the tiniest and the cutest with a special delivery just for you. For your favorite shows, keep connected to GoTV with entertainment to get you in the best mood this June.
Well, I think that's everyone.
GoTV. Love it.
Camnet TV is here to entertain, educate and inform you. Catch Rise and Thrive at 0730 hours every Saturday. Fresh and new praise and worship comes Monday to Friday at 8 hours. Kids need to be glued to the TV every weekday at 09 hours for their favorite cartoons. Off the pitch with the boys as they talk about sport on Saturdays at 0930 hours.
Remember, we are also here to entertain you with our different varieties of movies every weekday at 10 hours. Join Pastor Victoria and Moses Chuluwa with Healing Word Ministries International Church live sermon every Sunday at 10 hours.
Katamanda brings to you another journey of gospel ministers on Saturdays at 10:30 hours. The verdict comes to your screens at 17:45 hours. Join the Revival Harvest Church every Sunday at 18:30 hours.
Every Monday to Saturday, join us on the news desk at 12 hours as we bring to you the midday news, and at 19:30 hours Central African time every day for the main bulletin.
The ministry with Pastor Moses Chuluwa comes every Friday at 20:45 hours. On Mondays, it's your favorite national matters at 20:45 hours.
Wednesday and Thursday, Pastor Victoria and Moses Chuluwa are on Partnership of Greatness with different spiritual teachings at 20:45 hours.
And Frank on Camnet comes to your screen every Tuesday at 20:45 hours.
Camnet TV, not just another channel. Thank you for staying with us. We continue with the rest of the news. New Labour Party leader Precious Siwale says it is good that the Lusaka Magistrate Court has put him on his defense in a matter he accused President Lungu of being a foreigner. Speaking to Camnet News in an exclusive interview shortly after his court appearance, Mr. Siwale disclosed that he is ready to defend himself over the allegations he uttered against the president. In this case, Mr. Siwale is alleged to have, on the 22nd of April 2018, alleged that Zambian President Edgar Lungu is not the actual Edgar Chagwa Lungu, but Jonathan Mutawale, and must be arrested for having 3 national registration cards because he is an identity thief.
He is said to open his defense next month. The case is accused of defamation of the president. New Labour Party leader Precious Siwale says he's ready to tell his side of the story. In this matter, Mr. Siwale is alleged to have on April 22, 2018, with intent to bring the name of President Edgar Lungu into ridicule, published defamatory matter by word of mouth, to which he said the President of the Republic of Zambia is not the actual Edgar Chagwa Lungu, but Jonathan Mutawale. He must be arrested for having 3 national registration cards. He is an identity thief. Thursday morning, when he appeared before Magistrate Alice Walusiku for ruling on case or no case to answer, the court ruled that the state had established a prima facie against him to warrant the court to place him on his defense. And speaking to Camnet shortly after his court appearance, this was his comment over the court's ruling.
The court has decided to put me on defense, and I opened my defense on the 22nd of July 2021. I must also hasten to say that it is good that the court has put me on defense so that I may be able to tell my side of the story of how the identity fraud happened and when it happened.
In April this year, the state closed its case after calling several witnesses to testify, among them Department of National Registration, Passport and Citizenship Registrar Agnes Musonda, who testified that Edgar Chagwa Lungu was born in Ndola in 1956, adding that at the time he got his NRC in 1973, he was residing in Kitwe's Chimwemwe area. The state witness had further testified that the 2 NRCs bearing the names of Edgar Chagwa Lungu and Edgar Lungu belonged to 2 different people. However, Ms. Musonda admitted that Zambians were free to discuss the identity and origin of their president, but added that he had never heard of anyone having more than 2 NRCs. 22nd July it is to commence his defense. Miriam Kemba, reporting for Camnet TV News.
Chapter 1 Foundation has petitioned President Edgar Lungu in the Constitutional Court seeking a declaration that the Zambia Correctional Service Bill No. 35 of 2021, which was later published as Zambia Correctional Service Act No. 37 of 2021, which was signed after the dissolution of Parliament, is now and void. The foundation states that on the 19th of May 2021, 6 days after the dissolution of Parliament, President Edgar Lungu ceased to be part of the Parliament but purported to assent to the Zambia Correctional Service Bill No. 35 of 2021. The petitioner argues that the respondent breached Article 81(8) and 92(2) of the Constitution on the 19th of May 2021 when he signed into law the Correctional Bill No. 35. Chapter 1 Foundation states that after Parliament was dissolved on the 13th of May 2021, the present legislative authority conferred by Article 63(1) of the Constitution to assent to bills passed by the National Assembly expired. It adds that the only function the head of state had remained with was only to perform the executive function, which did not include the power to assent to bill passed by the National Assembly. The petitioner wants the court to issue conservatory order saying operation on the Zambia Correctional Service Act No. 37 of 2021 and restoring the Prison Act Chapter 97 of the laws of Zambia until after the determination of the case. The Ndola High Court has ordered the Electoral Commission of Zambia-ECZ to prescribe the amount of airtime in public media to be allocated to all participating political parties in the 12th August 2021 general election. This is in a case where United Party for National Development UPND Secretary General Emenda Bukata has cited ECZ and the Attorney General as respondents in the matter. In this matter, the UPND commenced judicial review proceedings against the ECZ for banning campaigns rallies prior to the general elections. Emenda was seeking a declaration that the decision of ECZ to ban campaign rallies during the campaign period leading up to the general election was without legal authority. The court, in its ruling, states that it is important that ECZ leveled the playing field for all political parties in the prescription of airtime in both electronic and print media. The Movement for MultiParty Democracy (MMD) has announced that it will support selected parliamentary candidates from different political parties across the country. Party President Dr. Nevers Mumba says the party will soon announce candidates it will support regardless of them belonging to competing political parties. Dr. Mumba explains that the decision has been arrived at because his party has not fielded any parliamentary candidates. Dr. Mumba says his party could not field candidates in all constituencies because it was focusing on grabbing the presidency. Speaking when he featured on Frank on Camnet TV, Dr. Mumba says he will recommend the names of 150 parliamentary candidates to the church and encouraged believers to support them.
The quality of members of parliament is critical. If you put in people that cannot even pronounce their own names and make them members of, which is common in Africa, you can elect anybody just because he's a good campaigner. We are going to produce a list of 156 recommended members of parliament. They're already on the ballot on different political parties, including the independents. That list, we have scrutinized them to be men with a background of character. We will recommend that list to the churches, 3 mother bodies, and encourage believers to consider those members of parliament, not just MMD members of parliament, because they are good and quality with character, candidates that are standing as independents, that are standing as members of parliament on other political parties. We have written down and continue to write a list that we will publicize and will campaign for them. We will support them logistically. Some of them who are not able to make it, if we believe is a good candidate, we'll invest even resource or finance in them.
In other news, National Democratic Party leader Joseph Akafumba has advised party members to stay strong and help the nation be delivered from the ill beings experienced under the current leadership. Speaking to Camnet TV over the case that was thrown out recently, in which the NDC led by Savoy Imboela and then Chishimba Kambwili had dragged Akafumba and his team to court, was thrown out on the basis of lacking merit, Mr. Akafumba says his party is a law-abiding entity, hence respecting the ruling from the court. Mr. Kafumba, who is now part of the UPND alliance, says the party will strive to help the alliance under the leadership of Hakainde Hichilema win the August elections.
From the ruling from the Court of Appeal, which was delivered the day before yesterday, it's a clear demonstration that there is a difference between the lawless and the unlawless. The unlawless is the group of Kambwili and Savoy. Just to break it down, we are coming from a situation where we got an injunction in the Dollar High Court and a committee for them to show cause why they should not be sent to prison. They rushed to the Court of Appeal and obtained that stay. The stay has been discharged and dismissed. Now they used the same stay to lure innocent NDC members to file as MPs. So what does this mean? It means we are back to square one. They are still going to answer for the contempt proceedings on 29th June 2021. And it's a lesson to everybody that they must respect the courts. Kambwili and Savoy put no regard for the courts. That's why they behaved the way they were behaving. They went ahead to hold provincial conferences and even the Congress when in fact there was an injunction in place. So the difference between them and us we are law abiding. When they got their stay, we abided by it until it was dismissed. Now we can talk. So the message to all the genuine NDC members, stay strong. We have to deliver this country from the jaws of evil.
A Zambian student studying aviation studies has died in India 2 days after being notified of his father's death in Zambia. Zambia's High Commissioner to India, Judith Kapijimpanga, identified the deceased as Cheyo Keith Musukwa, a former student of Lovely Professional University in Punjab State, India. Mrs. Kapijimpanga, who has regretted the untimely demise of Mr. Musukwa, says he died at Johor Hospital on the 18th of June 2021 around 16 hours Indian time. She explains that Mr. Musukwa reportedly fell off from his apartment floor 2 days after being informed about the demise of his father in Zambia. The High Commissioner said the deceased was rushed to the hospital where he was put on a ventilator but unfortunately died a few hours later. She adds that the mission was consulting the relevant higher authorities in Zambia and the family to the deceased regarding transportation of the remains of Mr. Musukwa. Mrs. Kapijimpanga said the mission was awaiting a comprehensive report from the law enforcement agencies in India. This is contained in a statement made available by First Secretary Press at Zambia High Commission in India, Bangwa Navile.
He reportedly fell off from his apartment floor 2 days after being informed about the demise of his father in Zambia. The deceased was rushed to hospital where he was put on a ventilator but unfortunately died a few hours later. The mission is consulting the relevant higher authorities in Zambia and the family to the deceased regarding transportation of the remains of Mr. Cheyo Musukwa. The mission is further awaiting a comprehensive report from the law enforcement agencies in India.
Supporters of candidates for the Patriotic Front PF candidate Lakson Lungu and independent Eric Mwale contesting for Kapoche seats respectively in Sinda district of Eastern Province clashed, leaving some with injuries. According to the Zambia police, it is alleged that on the 9th of June 2021 around 11 hours, the two opposing groups, whilst conducting their campaigns, met at Matia village in Chief Nyanje in Sinda district and had a fight. Zambia police spokesperson Esther Katongo said a motor vehicle Mitsubishi Canter Green in color used by the PF cadre had its front windscreen and the right side door damaged, as stones are alleged to have been used in the act. She says no arrest has been made yet as police await the identity of suspects involved in the fracas. Mrs. Katongo adds that dockets of malicious damage and 3 assault cases have been opened and investigations have been instituted. We'll take our second break. Coming next is international and sports news.
At Master Signs, our services range from outdoor, indoor signage such as billboards, banners, 3D light boxes, pylons and neon signs. We are located at plot number 397A, Makeni Road, Lusaka, at Oryx Filling Station. For more details, call us on +260 967 100 090 or +260 966 999 981, or better still, email us at infomastersign@gmail.com. Master Sign, we will make it shine.
In this fast-paced era of industrial boom and population growth, there is need to invest in smart ways of managing electricity and water consumption and reducing utility billing costs associated with the postpaid billing system. At Zambia Electronics, we manufacture right here in Zambia different types of high-quality smart electricity and water meters to customer specifications. Zambia Electronics water and electricity meters help you monitor your usage and gives notifications such as low units, tampering, low battery, and many other features. These easy-to-use meters makes it easier to buy units even in these COVID times and top up just from the comfort of your space. Favorable contract terms are available to both electricity and water utilities. For more details, get in touch with us on the following numbers: 0956 580 349 or 0977 498 318. Zambia Electronics, the real deal.
Every day for me means hard work. Going to sell my goods at the local market. To get more customers, I have my secret. Oracle Pure Glycerin. It's soft, smooth, and keeps my skin perfect. And my customers know it. Thank you, Oracle, for my perfect skin.
It's your friends.
I insist.
Your drama.
Do you think you can talk about my dad like that? You were in charge.
And intrigue.
Are you out for good or what? What do you want? Dare you say that to me, eh?
Your heroes. It's your moment with your stories. Made at home for your home. 'Cause great stories start on DSTV.
2021 has been described as a highly politically charged year. This is because every 5 years, the country goes to the polls, and that 5 years elapses. With only a few months remaining down to the ballot, the battlefield to appear on the ballot is becoming fertile. A lot of people are expressing interest of appearing on the ballot.
In all this, our interest is to put the duty bearers, the leaders, and those aspiring to task by asking the relevant questions.
If you're an aspiring candidate, be it councillor, mayor, or member of parliament, get in touch with us to get yourself on the verdict.
We go beyond speculation in dealing with policy and governance issues. The right questions are asked to help you make a verdict.
For more details, you can call us on 0962 965883, 0979 753010, or email us info@camnettvafrica.com. Terms and conditions apply.
Join us on Camnet TV
every Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday at 17:45 hours
on a new program dubbed The Verdict.
Remember that Camnet TV is not just another channel. Now, getting into our international item. Former Ivorian President Laurent Gbagbo is expected to land in Abidjan on June 17th on a commercial flight from Brussels, where he has resided since his acquittal in late March of crimes against humanity by the International. According to his spokesman, the former Ivorian president's arrival symbolizes reconciliation and will reunite Ivorians. Negotiations on the condition of his return after a 10-year absence has been taking place in recent weeks between Laurent Gbagbo's party and the government, which wants to avoid any chaos when he lands. Gbagbo was acquitted by the ICC in 2019 and an appeal against that ruling failed in March, opening the way for his return. Following the acquittal, President Alassane Ouattara authorized Gbagbo's return to the country by granting him the status due to his rank as former head of state. Speculation on when that will be has been building for months, and his supporters say they want to welcome him in triumph. But the government is in favor of a lower-profile return, worry of potential unrest if tens of thousands of his supporters turn out. In another international item, Zimbabwe is hoping for economic rebound this year as Financial Minister LUNGU expects the economy to grow by 7.8%. For 2 consecutive years, the country's economy has been shrinking. Even before the pandemic hit, Zimbabwe's economy had contracted by 6% in 2019. This is partly because of natural disasters like Cyclone Ida and devastating drought that battered southern Africa. Despite this, the Zimbabwean finance minister, said the government had been engaging creditors and has begun repaying its $8.8 billion United States dollars external debt. According to official data, inflation has begun to slow down from around 700% in 2020 to nearly 162% last month. The IMF projects growth of 3.1% for Zimbabwe's economy.
Zimbabwe is hoping for economic rebound this year. For 2 consecutive years, the country's economy has been shrinking. Even before the pandemic hit, Zimbabwe's economy had contracted by 6% in 2019, partly because of natural disasters that battered southern Africa. Despite this, Finance Minister Mutuli Ncube is optimistic about a rebound.
The economy is fixable. We are fixing it. Just check our track record in the last 2.5 years. The government has introduced a new currency which didn't exist before. Every country needs its own currency so as to have monetary policy to supplement what's happening on the fiscal side. We have been managed to balance the budgets. We have begun payments, token payments to the World Bank and the AFDB and the European Investment. We have started. We've also expressed that we desire to begin payments, no matter how small, to the 17 Paris Club members that Zimbabwe owes money. We want Zimbabwe to be known as a good debtor, not a bad debtor.
According to official data, inflation has begun to slow down from around 700% in 2020 to nearly 162% last month.
We now get into our sports news. Zambia men football national team has drawn tough opposition, among them Algeria, in a seemingly mouth-watering Group D first round matches in next month's second edition of Africa Men Football Nations Cup. To negotiate its passage to the quarter-finals, Zambia will have to face inaugural 2018 host Libya and fellow debutants Gabon. The 16-team Continental Indo Championship that is slated for Abidan in the Greater Oyo State in Nigeria from 8th to 17th July 2021 will also see hosts Algeria, Nigeria, Senegal, Morocco and Djibouti slug it out in Group A, while Group B has South Africa, Benin, Tunisia. Group C pits defending champions Cote d'Ivoire, Egypt, Ghana and Somalia. The draw ceremony, which took place at the Ilaji Resort, Iban, Nigeria on Wednesday night, was attended by African football legends and President of African Mini Football Association, Mr. Shukri Ajidedi, President Mini Football Federation of Zambia, representing the Federation. The 10 days BNN tournament will see top 5 teams qualify and represent Africa at the Ukraine 2022 Mini Football World Cup.
In Group A, we have Morocco in Group A as well, and we have Djibouti in Group A. So that is Nigeria, Senegal, Morocco and Djibouti in Group A. Okay, that is Group A. And straight to Group B. Group B, we have South Africa. There's Tunisia. There's Benin Republic here. And of course, Burkina Faso. That's in Group B. And let's see what is in Group C. Of course, you know that the defending champions, Ivory Coast, they are of course drawn in Group C, the top seed there. So Ivory Coast in Group C. There's also Egypt in Group C. There is Somalia in Group C. And of course, completing the list of Group C there, we have Ghana in Group C. And the last group, well, most times they call Group D the group of death because of the caliber of teams usually that are coming for most competitions there is. But right now we have Zambia in Group D, there is Gabon in Group D, there is Libya in Group D, and of course Algeria completing the lineup there for Group D.
Well, that news item brings us to the end of Camnet TV main news, but before we go, here are the headlines once again. More stakeholders condemn government over Dr. SAMPA'S firing. Court direct ECZ to level the political playing field, especially media coverage. Chapter 1 Foundation petitions President Edgar Lungu over the prison vote. And in international news, Zimbabwe upbeat about economic rebound, focused on 7.8% growth. And in sports, debutants Zambia drawn against Algeria in AFCON mini football. Before we go, here's our Camnet verse of the day, and it's coming from the book of Jeremiah 31 verse 24 to 25, and it reads, Judah and all its cities will live in it together, also farmers and those who move with the flocks. For I satisfy the thirsty person and feed all those who are weak. Thank you for joining me. I am Precious Mzeya Sakaleji. Continue watching Camnet TV, not just another channel.